Now, did you know that Pokémon FireRed and LeafGreen are 20 years old?
Welcome, ladles and jelly spoons, to Kohigh Mathy's YouTube channel and our first 20th anniversary retrospective review of 2024. A retro video game channel coming at you live via videotape from the orbital broadcast bunker, don't you know? Britain's first and only airborne subterranean studio, I'll have you know. Released in 2004, Pokémon FireRed and LeafGreen are the modern reimaginings of the classic 1996 role-playing games, originally part of the iconic monster-catching series, created by Game Freaks and released by the Pokémon Company along with Nintendo. These titles were available for the Game Boy Advance.
Their debut were in Japan in January of 2004, followed by launches in North America and Europe later that year, September and October I believe. These games are significant for being the inaugural enhanced remakes in the celebrated franchise and belong to its third generation.
If you want to know more, why not grab yourself a brew, sit back, relax as we look at Pokémon FireRed and LeafGreen as they turn 20 years old and enter the video game Hall of Retro. Ladles, jelly spoons and Pokémon trainers, are you ready for a throwback adventure to the early 2000s? Well, today we're diving headfirst into the retro wonderland of Pokémon FireRed and LeafGreen.
Do you remember when that was the pinnacle of handheld gaming technology? Oh god, the nostalgia. Well, we here at the orbital broadcast bunker do.
Britain's first and only airborne subterranean... Hang on a minute, I've said this bit. You know what? There's more to FireRed and LeafGreen. They aren't just any games, they're enhanced, deluxe, premium, turbocharged versions of the classics, don't you know?
These games have had more upgrades than we've attempted to launch this channel. You've got updated graphics and audio that, well, some say are a bit like giving your Game Boy a makeover with only a limited budget. But hey, we love the classics.
Now, I know what you're thinking.
Why play these remakes when we've got all these fancy new Pokémon games?
Well, my fellow retro gaming enthusiasts, it's simple. It's like visiting your grandma's house. Yes, she might not have Wi-Fi, but her ginger biscuits are still the best.
Do you remember trying to wake up the sleeping Snorlax with the old poker flute? My god, it were like trying to get our Keith out of Dog and Duck on Friday night. A true test of patience.
Just one more flaming sambuca, my good man.
So, are FireRed and LeafGreen worth your precious time? Well, the reviews were mostly positive, but you know what they say, gotta catch 'em all, even the slightly outdated ones.
FireRed and LeafGreen, revamps of the original 1996 Japanese games Pokémon Red and Blue, were first revealed in September of 2003. Games director Junichi Musada shared that these new versions were designed with simplicity in mind. Using a modified version of the engine from Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire, this ensured full backwards compatibility with Ruby and Sapphire, allowing for Pokémon trading between these games. The incorporation of Game Boy Advanced wireless adapter in FireRed and LeafGreen were a significant feature, highlighted by Nintendo's then president Satoru Iwata. He emphasised its role in enhancing direct battles, information exchange and communication. To cater to new players, the game introduced an enhanced interface and contextual help system to assist new players who might need guidance. Tetsukasa Ishihara, president of the Pokémon Company, didn't view these titles as mere remakes, but as new games, especially due to the integration of wireless technology. The initial production run of these games in Japan was surprisingly capped at 500,000 units, despite the success of Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire. This limitation led to speculation by IGN about potential demand underestimation or constraints due to the production of the bundled wireless adapter. When it came to the North American release, the games kept their original Japanese title of Red and Green, diverging from the Red and Blue release in that region. Masuda explained this decision, noting the symbolism of the leaf as a peaceful element, contrasting with water, which could imply conflict when paired with the fiery theme of the other game. Critically, these games were well received, achieving an average score of 81% on Metacritic. Reviewers commonly lauded the incorporation of new elements while retaining the essence of the series' traditional gameplay. Opinions over graphics and sound were more varied, with some criticism directed at their simplicity and perceived lack of enhancements from the preceding titles, Ruby and Sapphire. Commercially, FireRed and LeafGreen were a hit, selling approximately 12 million copies globally.
So, do FireRed and LeafGreen still hold up? Absolutely. They're not just a tribute to the original Red and Blue, they're a testament to the timeless appeal of Pokémon. Whether you're a seasoned trainer or new to the series, these games are a must play. And if you have played them before, be sure to tell us about your experience in the comment section down below. And whilst you're there, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that bell icon for more retro gaming nonsense. Or maybe you've got a trick or a tip that you'd like to share, or maybe you just want to share your favourite part of the game. The cultural impact of FireRed and LeafGreen can't be overstated. These games reinvigorated the Pokémon community, bringing a new wave of trainers while satisfying the nostalgic long-term fans. They set a precedent for future remakes in the franchise, blending respect for the original material with modern gameplay innovations. If you've never played FireRed or LeafGreen and we have inspired you to check them out, let's talk about time commitment. How long will it take you to become a Pokémon master? Now, for those of you who are laser focused on the main story, you're probably looking at a good, 29.5 hours of playtime. That's your journey from Pallet Town all the way to Pokémon League, with all the gym battles and Team Rocket encounters along the way. But wait, there's more! If you're the kind of trainer who leaves no stone unturned, aiming for that 100% completion, we're talking full Pokédex, all hidden items, every side quest, you're in for a marathon. You'll be clocking in around 148 hours to achieve that feat, don't you know? Whether you're just in for a quick jog through Kanto or a full Pokémon marathon, FireRed and LeafGreen have got you covered. So trainers, are you ready to embark upon this epic journey? Let us know in the comments down below how you plan to play.
In FireRed and LeafGreen, players experience the game in a third-person overhead view. The primary interface is an overworld where players direct the main character. A menu accessible in this view allows players to manage their Pokémon, inventory and game settings. Encounters with wild Pokémon or battles initiated by NPCs shift the game into a turn-based combat screen, showing the players and opponents' Pokémon. During these battles, players can choose an action for their Pokémon, such as selecting a move, using an item, changing the active Pokémon or attempting to escape. Only possible in wild encounters! Each Pokémon has a limited number of power points, or PP, and using moves decreases its PP. A move becomes unusable when its PP is depleted. Pokémon have health points, HP, and when a Pokémon's HP drops to 0, it faints and cannot battle until revived. Defeating an opponent's Pokémon grants experience points, XP, to the player's Pokémon, leading to level ups with enough XP. Capturing Pokémon is a key aspect of gameplay. In battles with wild Pokémon, the player can use a Pokéball to attempt capture. The chance of a successful capture depends on target Pokémon's HP and the type of Pokéball used. The lower the HP and the stronger the Pokéball, the higher the capture success rate. Whilst FireRed and LeafGreen are remakes of the original Red and Green games,
Green being a Japan exclusive and replaced by Blue internationally,
they feature enhancements like a contextual help system. This tutorial feature allows players to access information at any point by pressing a button. Also, when resuming a saved game, the game displays the last 4 actions performed, helping the player recall their last activities. The games are compatible with the Game Boy Advanced Game Link cable, allowing for player-to-player trading or battling. They also connect with Ruby and Sapphire, as well as with Pokémon Colosseum, enabling players to collect over 350 Pokémon. Connections with the GameCube allow interactions with Pokémon Box, Ruby and Sapphire for organising and viewing collected Pokémon, and Pokémon from FireRed and LeafGreen can be used in Colosseum battles.
These games are the first in the series to support the Game Boy wireless adapter included with the games. This adapter enables wireless interaction between players within a 30 to 50 feet radius, and up to 30 players can join the Union Room, a special in-game area for trading, battling and a bit of chat.
For this feature, Nintendo established Joy Spots in various retail locations around Japan.
The silent protagonist of FireRed and LeafGreen is a child who lives in a small town named Pallet Town.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Right, I'm not having this. Right, come out, mysterious voice. You!
Well, I mean, at least that answers the question about what he does round here.
Right, hang on a minute, right. If he's there, and you're there, and I'm here, and our lad's over there, who's making tea?
Tea-o.
Meow, 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 meow.
The silent protagonist of FireRed and LeafGreen is a child who lives in a small town named Pallet Town. After players start a journey and venture alone into tall grass, a voice warns them to stop. Professor Oak, a famous Pokémon researcher, explains to the player that such grass is often the habitat of wild Pokémon, and encountering them alone can be very dangerous. He takes the player to his laboratory where they meet Oak's grandson, another aspiring Pokémon trainer. The player and their rival are both instructed to select a starter Pokémon for their travels. The rival then challenges them to a Pokémon battle with their newly obtained Pokémon and continues to battle the player at certain points throughout the games. After reaching the next city, the player is asked to deliver a parcel to Professor Oak. Upon returning to the laboratory, they are presented with a Pokédex, a high-tech encyclopedia that records the entries of any Pokémon that are captured. Oak then asks the player to fulfill his dream of compiling a comprehensive list of every Pokémon in the game. While visiting the region cities, the player encounters special establishments called Pokémon gyms. Inside these buildings are gym leaders, each of whom the player must defeat in a Pokémon battle to obtain a gym badge. Once a total of 8 badges are acquired, the player is given permission to enter the Pokémon League, which consists of the best Pokémon trainers in the region. There the player battles the Elite Four. Also throughout the game, the player has to fight against the forces of Team Rocket, a criminal organization that abuses Pokémon. They devise numerous plans to steal rare Pokémon, all of which the player must foil, meeting and defeating the organization boss Giovanni. After the first time players defeat the Elite Four, one of the members, Lorelei, disappears. After gaining access to the Sevii Islands, an entirely new region, the player discovers Lorelei in her house and convinces her to come back with them. Once more, the protagonist must thwart Team Rocket's plans on several occasions, recover 2 artifacts, the Ruby and the Sapphire, and put them in the main computer at one island. After that, the player can trade with Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, Colosseum, and XD.
The soundtrack for FireRed and LeafGreen was crafted by reimagining the music from the classic console versions, with arrangements by Go Ichino. Musada and Ichino chose to retain the core soundscape from Red and Blue, enhancing them with additional layers and textures. The adaptation process involved key changes in some tracks to refresh the original compositions. Notably, pieces like the Trainer Battle theme were reinterpreted using MIDI format for the Game Boy Advance, incorporating fluid pitch bends. To celebrate this musical evolution, a 2-disc collection titled GBA Pokémon FireRed and LeafGreen Super Complete was released. The first disc encompassed the entire in-game soundtrack, whilst the second disc offered bonus content, drawing inspiration from the game's music. This included 2 tracks with vocals, adding a unique dimension to the already memorable collection.
懐かしいあの景色花たちは赤草そよぐ風に揺れる赤羽ポコットに近づいてゆく
FireRed and LeafGreen have garnered largely positive reviews, currently boasting an impressive 81% on Metacritic. The New Zealand Herald applauded the games for addressing the connectivity issues presented in Ruby and Sapphire, a move that they believed would rekindle the interest of veteran Pokémon players. IGN awarded the games a remarkable 9 out of 10, labelling them as outstanding. They commended the developers for crafting a game that excels in the handheld market. Whilst they noted that these games did not offer as much variety as Ruby and Sapphire, they found them immensely satisfying. However, they did critique the graphics for being somewhat limited and basic. GameSpot gave them an 8.4 out of 10, remarking that despite the Pokémon series possibly needing a new twist, FireRed and LeafGreen stand as excellent roleplay games in their own right. They highlighted their extensive content, challenging gameplay, and their appeal to players of all ages. Contrary to IGN, GameSpot praised the game for their vibrant graphics and the series' signature charming character design. GameSpot even named Leaf Green the best Game Boy Advanced game for September 2004. Game Informer rated the game as very good, 8 out of 10, acknowledging their fun gameplay but considered the graphics relatively unimpressive compared to other handheld titles.
GameSpy give the games 4 out of 5 stars, sharing their experience of being captivated by the games once again. They emphasise the engaging simplicity of the gameplay and the strategic depth of the battles, along with the still effective gotta-catch-em-all allure necessary for building a balanced team. They defended the game's graphics by contrasting them with the less visual appeal of the original Red and Blue. They also appreciated the new features like the contextual tutorials, flashbacks upon game loading, and the enhanced multiplayer experience through the wireless adapter.
Back in 1999, the original Red and Blue were solid 10 out of 10 games for their time on the black and white gaming platform that was the Game Boy. This series set the groundwork for what would become the Pokémon universe, leading to the fantastic Gold and Silver sequel for the Game Boy Color and the first Game Boy Advanced entries, Ruby and Sapphire. The developers really invested heavily in this Red and Blue remake, notably upgrading it to include wireless functionality with the included adapter. This innovation, allowing Nintendo to establish competitive hotspots, opened up a new dimension for avid Pokémon fans. However, it is important to note that since FireRed and LeafGreen are essentially remakes of Red and Blue, some of the newer features introduced in Ruby and Sapphire were left out to maintain fidelity to the original. Whilst most gameplay and strategic elements have been updated, certain extras that evolved the series beyond Red and Blue and Gold and Silver were not included.
Despite this, FireRed and LeafGreen managed to stand out as more than just remakes. They effectively hold their own as original entries in the Pokémon series. Players will once again find themselves dedicating weekends to the timeless quest of catching them all.
My journey through FireRed and LeafGreen was more than just a walk down memory lane. It was a rediscovery of what made me fall in love with Pokemon in the first place. The strategic depth of the games, the thrill of capturing and training Pokemon again, and the exploration all felt familiar but also excitingly new. Thanks for joining us on this Pokemon adventure. What are your takes on FireRed and LeafGreen? Please do share your thoughts in the comment section down below. And remember, for more retro reviews and gaming discussions, hit that subscribe button. Before we see you next week, I want to leave you with this chemistry joke. Well, I would, but I know it wouldn't get a reaction. Cheerio, see you Friday.